Good morning, everybody. It's a Friday morning, bright and early. It's too windy outside for me to record outside, but I have my cup of coffee and just a moment to say hello and check in with you. It's been a crazy busy week. I'm thankful for the rain that has fallen and the promise of some more. I would never have guessed on Sunday when I was preaching about Jeremiah and the horses and the thickets that I was preaching to myself, because within half an hour of the Sunday service that we watched together at 8:30, at about 10 o'clock, at about 11 o'clock, we had a phone call saying that the alarm had gone off at the church. And then when I got there, it turned out that we'd been broken into. Our armed response has been fantastic, and they actually caught the criminal, and so we've recovered the bits and pieces that he stole from our storeroom. But it was a tough moment for me. The criminal who was caught was just 19 years old, and it was a very forceful reminder to me, because our complex, we've also had 3 attempted robberies. It was a reminder for me that crime is on the up, but that's because desperation is on the up. And so a little bit later in the check-in, I do want to talk about our massive responsibility to the needy and the poor, and the difference that we need to be making. During this week, we also had to do some plumbing repairs at the church, and that's for us to get ready for reopening on the 11th. But I've also been up to my eyeballs in preparing a conference for the Mission and Discipleship Committee of General Assembly. And then we've also got the Global Leadership Summit that's coming up. And so I do want to remind you of that, and I'll put some photos and pictures up. The Global Leadership Summit from the Global Leadership Network, which used to be the Willow Creek Association, is going to be on the 22nd and 23rd of October, or on the 4th and 5th of November. These are going to be live streamed events. But the lovely thing is that not only will it be live streamed, but if you register for the summit, you will have 7 days in which you can continue to watch the summit online and benefit from those amazing inputs. And you'll see the lineup of the speakers on the screen in front of you now. The good news is that we have a bulk discount as a congregation, and the tickets are going to cost 350 Rand. 350 Rand for top-notch input that you're going to be able to watch either at home, or if a couple of us want to gather at the church, we can watch it there. But I really want to urge and encourage you, register for the summit. We'll send you an email and sign up for that. I think it's going to be so worthwhile, and I really want to urge and encourage you to sign in for that. And then a reminder, as I spoke about last Sunday, that we will start resuming our services. We're just getting everything lined up. We had to get all the plumbing sorted out, and the other various bits and pieces. We're going to put together an online sign-up so that we can track our numbers, and you can pre-fill in your details in order to come to the service, so that there won't be long queues of filling in your details when you come to the door. We'll do masks and hand sanitizing and all those kinds of things, but we'll start our services together. But I do want to remind you that our online services will continue until the end of the year as well. The line that the elders have taken is, yes, we do need to start worshiping together again, but we really believe that it is vital that we continue to be cautious and to make sure that we are not in any way responsible for the spreading of the coronavirus, particularly to people who may be vulnerable. Then I want to just recap a little bit from Sunday, because what I'm seeing around me is that many people are stretched and stressed and strained. And on Sunday I spoke of Jeremiah, who was struggling when he was running a race against human beings. And God uses the analogy. He says, if you're tired after running with human beings, imagine what it's going to be like if you have to race against horses. And the point that the passage makes is that the road ahead is tougher than what we can handle on our own. That we're going to need God's help and each other's help to do that. And I gave 5 practical habits on Sunday that I want to just recap this morning. And the first is, we have to recognize that we can't do this by ourselves, that we need help. We need God's help, and we may need the help of others too. And we should not be too proud or too self-dependent to recognize our need for help. We have to admit that we need help. Secondly, we need to spend real time with God. That's the only way we're going to have the inner resources that we'll need to survive these tough times. The third thing is that we're regularly going to have to check in with ourselves, check in on our souls, make sure that we're balanced, that our priorities are right. We need to do that check-in every now and again, because the temptation is to just run, rush, and just relentlessly go ahead without taking the moment that's needed. And the lovely analogy that Stephen Covey introduced us to was of the man who was trying to cut a tree down, but his saw was so blunt that you could see that even though he was sawing away frantically, there's no sawdust because the blade is so blunt. And when he was asked to stop and sharpen his saw, he said between his panting, "Sorry, I can't, I just need to keep sawing." And as foolish as that seems, very often we are guilty of doing exactly that. We don't take the time to slow down and examine our ways, and we need to do that. The fourth habit we need is to look outward and to care for others, and I'm going to say a bit more about that. And the fifth thing is that we need to ask for help when we need it. And so those 5 habits are vitally important. But I want to pause on the thought that I started with, and that is, as I'm watching what's happening to our economy, as I watch our president struggling to try and get our economy going again, when we look at the unemployment figures that are going up, we see the increase in crime, and there is frustration, there's desperation. And I want to look all of us in the eye and say, now more than ever, we have to excel at making a difference in the lives of others. And whether that's a donation to a charity, or employing somebody to do something, or making a donation, or handing out some food, whatever it is, we really, really have to make a difference. Just this week, somebody sent me a beautiful story from New York in the Depression times, where the mayor moonlighted as a judge, and in his court one night, an elderly woman was brought in, having been arrested for stealing bread. And when she explained her story, it was her daughter who was ill and her grandchildren who were starving. And the judge said, "Well, as an officer of the law, I have to impose a fine or a prison sentence." And the lady said, "Well, I have no money, and if I go to prison, then who's going to look after my sick daughter and my grandchildren?" And the judge proceeded to, out of his own pocket, pay her fine. But then he fined everybody in the courtroom 50 cents, which was a lot more money back then, for seeing a need and doing nothing. And everybody in the courtroom happily paid that fine. And over $15, which was again a lot of money at the time, was gathered and helped that lady through her difficult time. And the important thing that we need to realize is that right now we are responsible for each other, and where we can, we must make a difference. So wherever you can, however you can, make sure that you are making a difference. Be part of the solution and not part of the problem. Be aware that people around you might be looking for a job, might be looking for something that they can do. They might just need encouragement or connect to the right people. Whatever it is that we can do, make a difference. Let me close. This Sunday is communion, and this will be held online. We won't start our physical services this Sunday, so please do have your communion elements ready. And I'm going to be continuing our Overcomers series by looking at the story of Joseph and how Joseph overcame his topsy-turvy circumstances. And then I want to end with this this verse from Jeremiah. Jeremiah 31 verse 25. And this is the same Jeremiah who God said to him, remember, you're going to be running with horses, and that's going to be hard. God promises Jeremiah in chapter 31 verse 25, I will refresh the weary and I will satisfy the faint. That's God's promise to you and me. And I pray that we will receive it. And so have a great weekend. See you on Sunday morning online. And may the Lord be with you and bless you and give you His peace. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. Amen. From our home to yours, God bless and lots of love.
Over the next few moments, I want to challenge you to think outside of the box, because the box you're in is too small for the world you have.
Next level of results requires the next level of thinking.
The fundamental goal of leadership is not just to get better yourself, but to make others better.
Don't let insecurity allow you to neglect the gift that God's given you.
When there is difficulty, we are called to go first.
We need you as a leader much longer than you are set up to last right now.
So I think that's a test of longevity, is how well you navigate change.
Because our world needs confident, humble, bold, and integrity-fused leadership.
Let's lead not for likes tonight, but let's lead for a legacy tomorrow. Let's give the next generation a story to tell.